Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of The Real List, a podcast about our real list. This is episode 44, and I thought I got my own countdown on the audio, which is why I was hesitant. I'm your host, Ellis.
And I'm your host, Gloria, and today's selection is from me. This is a late birthday present to my mom, A Bronx Tale. This movie came out in 1993.
She made this movie. Gloria made this movie as a present to her mom. Congratulations.
This movie came out in 93. It's a coming-of-age crime drama starring Robert De Niro, Chaz
Palminteri.
This is actually based on a musical that Chaz wrote
and performed by himself, which blew my mind. This was a one-man show that other people had tried to buy, and Robert De Niro was allowed to take it over and turn it into a film.
This was actually Robert De Niro's directorial debut, which
is really cool, because this being his directorial debut, it having this story behind it of like it was this man's one-man show, and other people like wanted to acquire it. They offered him up to $1 million, and Chaz said, "No, I don't want that," because the things he really wanted to do were, number one, to have control over the writing of it, and number two, to play Sonny. And no one else would let him do that. So Robert De Niro let him do that in exchange for Robert De Niro playing Lorenzo, which is a really cool thing.
It seems fair. I mean, they only have Robert De Niro and Chaz listed here, but there's a whole cast of other people.
All of them have really funny nicknames.
What?
For the most part.
Yeah.
The whale,
Jojo the whale, Jimmy Whispers, Coffee Cake.
Yeah, Coffee Cake is the one I was trying to think of, and then there's what's the one who's bad luck?
Oh, Mush.
Mush.
Eddie Mush.
I really love how the main what's the main I like how C introduces all the people in the movie as like this is what's his name, this is his nickname, this is what we thought of him and why he has his nickname. Yeah. He goes through that for every single character that we meet, just about. Aside from like his parents and the girl. That's all.
Yeah, and then you got his friends, Mario, Slick, and some other people.
Someone that started with like a V, wasn't it? Or it doesn't list them down here, but either way. Oh yeah, Zero was one of them.
Oh yeah, Nicky Zero. You got
Toupee, Bars, KO,
Crazy Mario.
Yep. I love all the funny nicknames in this movie. It reminds me of me giving nicknames to locomotives in Local Royale, of just like stupid thing that comes to mind. Well, now it's what this thing is called.
Yeah, so this movie is just basically mob, just the mob in the Bronx, New York. There's nothing to it. It's like what, 1968 they said.
Something like that.
It was 1960, and then 8 years go by, so it became 1968, and obviously it's
that is how that works.
Well, the point I was getting to is it's the race war time, the segregation kind of, well, not really segregation, but
it wasn't segregated in New York at this time, I don't believe, but yeah,
there was a lot of era. Yeah, a lot of
racial tension.
Yeah, the bad neighborhood that the black people lived in, and then the Italian neighborhood was nice and decent. I mean, the portrayal of what the 1960s was like in New York is just a lot.
It's a really interesting backdrop to this whole thing, because not only is this the third movie in a row that's just dropped the N-word.
Oh my god.
with no sort of like
hard R, N-word hard R, mind you, like
but it is this, you sort of take these racial tensions as they show up in other more modern movies or more contemporarily set movies, as like oh wow, that's an indication of like a bad character. And here it's just like, yeah, that's normal.
That's just the
You know,
time. That's
that's
just the time that the movie was set in.
the Italians don't like the black characters. The black characters don't like the Italian characters. They beat each other up. They chant at each other. It's like this is just society or this at this slice in time, and it's sort of. I want to talk about the I want to talk about Sonny in particular, but also just a lot of the deaths of the characters in this movie and how I couldn't bring myself to cry about any of them really. Um, and I mean that literally. Like I did feel a little bit bad, but I didn't feel that bad about anybody's death.
I mean, in all actuality, they kind of did it to themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean the kids for the one thing, and they're supposed to be like these rambunctious kids, and
They
you know,
were trying to be the mob, is the thing. They were trying to be gangsters, and they weren't gangsters.
well, they were trying to do something anyway.
They
Yeah,
were trying to terrorize the poor black people when they really weren't doing anything wrong. You fucked with them first.
yeah, they beat up the cyclists.
Well, its first stop. It first happened in the beginning of the movie when they saw the black boy on the bus.
Oh yeah, they heckled him and they threw
And,
stuff at him.
yeah, they
That's
threw
right.
stuff at him, and then it was the car of black people, right?
Car.
That was driving around.
I don't. Oh yeah, that they saw go by twice, and they
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, and it's sort of that's an indicator to the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
At this like. We're sort of peeling back the hey, these people are just a bunch of racists.
Yeah.
And
And C really wasn't like, I mean, he was for it in the beginning, and then he met his love interest, who happens to be a black girl, and he was
Ooh.
like, and then he was like, I don't think black people are that bad, you know.
I mean, even before then,
Even before then, he was like,
before
they're
that,
not
like
bothering you. Why are you bothering them? Like
yeah, the only time he sort of engages in it is
when
with
his friends did it.
I was gonna say at the beginning with the kid on the bus when he's younger.
Yeah,
By the
that's
time he's grown up, by the time he's an adolescent, and we see him through most of the movie, which I don't know why this whole movie I was expecting it to cut forward to him being an adult at some point. I thought like him. I didn't realize this whole movie was going to take place with him as a teenager or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, you thought it was gonna snap to him like being a full-fledged adult.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna. Okay, we get a little bit of him as kid, we get a little bit of him as teenager, and then we get him as an adult or whatever. But no, it never. It's a coming of age film. What did I expect?
Yeah.
I didn't really know anything about this movie going in. I knew the title. I knew Robert De Niro was in it. That's it. I knew there were mob things involved. I mean, this is like
Joe Pesci made an appearance at the end of the movie.
That surprised me, and I spent a while questioning if that was actually Joe Pesci. And then every time he spoke, I was just like, "That's got to be Joe Pesci."
Well, the thing
It just
was,
doesn't look like
the
him.
thing was, is Joe Pesci made an appearance at the beginning of the film with the car accident over the parking spot. Well, the parking
I didn't even
spot.
I didn't even know who that was. You know, you see him for 2 seconds behind a car.
Mm-hmm.
And you're supposed to not recognize him because when he shows up at the end, he's got to show
Scar.
C the scar before C recognizes him.
He never gets the question answered.
Where you, I mean, he does get it answered.
He does, but I feel like he was looking for more of an answer.
And he's not going to get that.
Yeah, he's definitely not gonna get that.
It's was it over a parking spot? No.
No.
Well, that's the answer to the question.
No.
We gotta watch something else with Joe Pesci. I think we're gonna. I just put My Cousin Vinny on the list.
Well, I
You
think
gotta
he's
watch that
also.
goddamn
I
movie.
think he's in The Godfather or Scarface.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. But point is, My Cousin Vinny is fantastic, quintessential Italian comedy. Joe Pesci is the lead role, or one of them. Joe Pesci is to My Cousin Vinny as Captain Jack Sparrow is to the first Pirates of the Caribbean. He's not like a main character, but he's there. I mean, he is the main character. It's more his story than not. But anyway, maybe that was a poor comparison. What I'm trying to say is Joe Pesci's fantastic, even though he shows up in this movie for all of 30 seconds. And yeah, you get to see these. You get to see C sort of ambivalent towards the black folks in this film. And it's nice to see that Sonny sort of agrees with that. At least he just doesn't give a damn.
Yeah, because when C and Sonny were talking, he was like, well, there's this girl I like, and he was like, oh, well, what's the matter? He's like, she's a colored girl. And he was like, well, as long as she makes you happy, right? I mean, she'll be one of the greats.
He's like, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Uh, and it's, I do, obviously, this is what I'm getting at with the I didn't really cry when anyone died. Because the kids were jerk-offs.
Yeah, that scene always gets me, though. Like that scene that,
staring at the bodies.
like, the scene with the car catching on fire and exploding, and the bodies laying out on the floor, like
Oh, yeah.
on the pavement. Like that scene. Like when I think of A Bronx Tale, I think of that scene, and then I also think of the scene where Sonny gets shot in the back of the head. Like that's like the go-to scenes that I will tell you when I say this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all I can think about.
They sure telegraphed that Sonny getting shot in the back of the head. The way that C was speaking in the narration, you're like, oh, he doesn't get to tell him. He doesn't get to tell him. And it's like, what's going to happen? And they lead you through this scenario. By the time Sonny gets shot, his death is not a surprise.
No, they were. I feel like everybody was kind of expecting it at some point because they found the bomb on his car, and they don't specify who planted the bomb on the car, but you can kind of suspect if it's.
They do. Oh, they don't. Oh, sorry, they don't specify who planted the bomb. That's right. Yeah.
They don't specify who planted the bomb, but if you could put two and two together, I feel like the guy that shot Sonny also put the bomb on Sonny's car.
I mean, maybe. That's
You never know.
That's healthy speculation. I don't necessarily know if that's true, because do you think somebody who's going to do a car bomb is also going to be the same kind of person who's just going to walk into a bar and shoot someone in the head?
Well, I mean,
like they're going to do that first, right?
I mean, I feel like if if the car bomb doesn't work, you're gonna run out of options and
shoot another car bomb.
Shoot somebody in the head.
Yeah, maybe. It just strikes me as going from the discreet move to the I'm gonna walk into this bar and shoot him in the head. It just doesn't seem like a logical progression to me. If you're gonna do the latter, you're not gonna bother with the former. You're just gonna go shoot him in the head.
I also wanted to talk about. Sorry.
Poor baby.
I also wanted to talk about how C runs throughout this entire movie.
Oh my god, you kept bringing that up.
it was. Did you see the way he was running though?
It was a little bit unusual. I don't think it was worth hanging a lantern on.
I think it's all the leather he's wearing.
Yeah.
It was all the leather.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's all leathered up and can't run.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Also, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Also, the scene when Sonny gets shot is like, I mean, I get it's a good idea to shoot somebody in a full bar, but at the same time, Can I finish my point before you interrupt me?
I mean, I disagree with the beginning of your point, but yeah, go ahead.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. But I'm saying the choices that they made to shoot the scene was the fact of they were not going to let the shooter get away.
Yeah, I suppose.
You know.
And yeah, I mean, he's going down and he's taking Sonny with him, maybe. I guess.
I mean, who would go? I mean, if you see if you have a quarrel with somebody, and you go to a full people busting out the frickin' sides, left, right, and center of a bar, and you see that the guy that you're trying to shoot is surrounded by people, you're just gonna shoot him right in the head and have no idea if you're gonna get caught or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
You know,
again, sort of pointing to the idea of probably not the same guy who put the thing in the car, because
maybe not, maybe who knows? I mean, they don't speculate on it.
Walk up to his car with a friggin' explosive vest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how that is a link. The N-word has a Wikipedia page. Okay.
One more thing before I let you talk.
Okay.
Before you talk again. In the end, at the funeral, C was like, if you bring the biggest, most flowers, it shows that you care the most. And he was like, I don't think Sonny would care about that.
Well, he said nobody cares. It's funny because just like that, and I'm still trying to get back to my original thought of I didn't cry when anybody died here. Sonny is a father figure. He's sort of an outlier, but not really. We don't really get to see how his sort of worldview blends in with the other folks in his crew, the other folks his age, in his, sort of disposition. I mean, we get to see it contrast with Lorenzo's, which is an interesting
Oh
sort of.
yeah, their feud throughout this movie. It was. I mean, I get where Lorenzo's coming from, and I also get where Sonny's coming from. But at the same time, I feel like Sonny should have stepped back and let Lorenzo be a parent to his son.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the scene between the two of them. The scene between Lorenzo and
I
Sonny in
mean,
the
there
back
was
of the bar.
multiple.
No, there was. I mean, the scene. The scene where Lorenzo confronts Sonny
Oh,
about.
about the money.
Yeah. Um, because they didn't really talk after that. Like, from then on.
Well, there was also
Um,
the scene where C leaves the house in a hurry,
yeah, there's that
and Lorenzo
one.
goes looking for him.
There's that very brief interaction, but I wouldn't really call that a, you know.
I mean,
But I get what you're saying.
yeah.
Uh, but that's the thing with Sonny. No one in this movie is perfectly good. I mean, Lorenzo is the closest it comes.
Mhm.
He is sort of the paragon of, you know, get up and do your work for a day, a day's work for a day's pay. He doesn't take the job with the mafia. He doesn't want his son hanging out with them at all. He doesn't interact with them at all whenever he can, and he doesn't want his son to keep the money from them. And we have this very virtuous dude who's just in this movie acting as a compass bearing of this is the right thing to do, and we get to watch Sonny walk off, or we get to watch C sort of walk off this path, which I think is a really interesting. It's a coming of age story. It's a really interesting sort of watching this character progress and develop in that light, and I was hoping it did not become a tragedy and C died or lost everyone he
Oh
loved.
yeah.
Or
When I
you
first
know.
saw this movie, I was like, I really hope he doesn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first saw this movie, I saw it with my mom very young. And what was this movie rated?
Something.
Um,
PG-13? It was there PG-13 in those days?
I have no idea.
I haven't got a clue.
We have the case right over there.
Oh, I'll look. You talk.
When I saw this movie very young, I missed the part where C got out of the car.
Oh no.
So I didn't know he was still in the car, and I saw the car get set on fire by the Molotov cocktails, and I was like, "No, C's gonna die." And then I saw him. Walking with Jane, and I was like, "Oh,
R.
thank God he didn't die."
It's rated R.
It's rated R.
It's rated R. Um.
I mean,
yeah.
if they're dropping hard R's, and word hard R, I mean, of course it's gonna be rated R. Hi, Lafayette.
But and Sonny saves his life.
Yeah, Sonny saved his
Sonny
life.
chases him down, pulls him out of that car. That was the one moment in this film where I was like, "That's kind of Deus Ex Machina." That's like, why did Sonny chase him down? But I understand there's rationale there. It just seemed a little bit flimsy.
Mm-hmm.
I wish there was more indicating Sonny was following him, but I suppose that's not the point.
Did you?
And then Sonny dies, and we could spend this entire episode just talking about Sonny's character and the good things about him and the bad things about him, because it's he's a mob boss.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a good guy. He
No.
kills people. He, commits probably many other kinds of crimes that we do not get to see, aside from just the gambling, etc., which isn't necessarily a crime. I don't think it's a crime in New York. But,
had 9-year-old C playing craps in the basement of the bar.
yeah, which is a great scene. It's a lot of pressure to be under. Poor kid. But, 11 in a row or whatever.
Everybody getting tossed in the bathroom.
Yeah. But that's why when he died, I was just like, I was, part sad because, he's somebody that in the film you kind of want to root for because he's Sonny, or because he's C's mentor and everything.
Yeah, he said that he wanted C to be smart two ways, and it was street smart and school smart.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted him to go to school and do things with his life and, not be caught up with his stupid friends.
Well, not probably be caught up in a life of crime. I mean, that's what he advises them directly, like, hey, don't do this. This is not for
Don't
you.
don't be me. Do
Yeah.
better. Like a parent would say, don't be like
Mm-hmm.
me. Be better.
And if you take away the like obvious terrible things he does, he's a pretty good parent. Uh, and then just beating the crap out of C when the car bomb. But you know, that's why when he dies, it's like, oh, he's dead. Like, that's sad for C, but on the whole, it's
You got
not.
rid of a mob boss.
Yeah, on the whole, it's a terrible criminal who has been killed. Um, it's not that much of a loss, as it were. And don't get me wrong, I don't really advocate for murdering anybody, but you know, you can't undo that. He's dead. Take it what it is.
Did you notice how whenever they went by the church, they would do the yeah.
Sign of the cross every time they drove by the church. I thought that was cute. Um,
How about the confession scene?
the confession scene I was about to bring up.
Oh yeah,
I love that. Well, because I remember doing that.
I've never done that.
Man, you got some sins. But no,
Sure. Just tell the people I'm a sinner.
They know. Um,
I know.
Do you wonder if anyone heard us?
Shush.
Uh,
I mean, if premarital sex is a sin, I guess we're both sinners.
I mean, it is a sin, and yes, we are. Sorry, everyone listening to this. But point is, the way the sort of church was woven into this was very entertaining to me as someone who grew up with all of that, and just like, this is the effect that it's having on his life. This is the place where it is on its life. The place where, the place that it is in his life. Like, how it affects him and how he navigates it, which I thought was really, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It sort of tickled a certain part of me when people have their religious traditions that they are, going through the motions of in a film like this, in a book like this, in whatever. There's something to the ceremony because I've known it that sort of tickles me in a very, very unique way. I'm all done with all that, but
I wanted to talk about like the confession scene, like itself. He was like listing off the things he's done, and he's like, I also lied about witnessing a murder, and he was like,
the priest is like, go back.
I eat on Friday. No, go after. Before that, I lied about witnessing a murder, and he was like, who did it? He's like, I ain't no rat.
Yeah, the worst thing you can be is a rat. Actually, that's the amazing thing about Sonny, is despite being he's a half-decent parent, I guess. He is obviously a terrible human being because he's a massive criminal and a mob boss. But he gives some damn good advice here and there. Just the, don't do this, it's not for you, for starters. Or, it's for me, not for you. But, the bit about the 3 great women is a little dubious because, that's just BS. But, it sort of might encourage someone to work hard for their love, which is a reasonable thing to want to do. You don't want somebody that's like, phoning it in. You're never going to get anywhere like that.
What about the door test?
The door test is a good one. The door test is a good one. His sort of ambivalence to, her race is a good one. You get to see that he's like, he's got some bright spots. And I really wasn't sure how that was going to go. I wasn't sure if
if she doesn't open the door for you, dump her.
Yeah.
Dump her.
I wasn't sure if how Sonny was going to react to the revelation that she's black. He
didn't even think that Jane was real because he thought that C was too busy planting that bomb on his car.
He entertained the idea that Jane wasn't real. I'm not sure if he ever actually believed that.
I keep wanting to calling him Lorenzo, but I keep wanting to try to pronounce his name.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not even going to try. It's
Calogero.
Calogero is it, but
I don't even know how you would say that in Italian.
Calogero. I mean, really, just the same. It would just sound a little smoother like that, and you'd probably roll the R a little bit. Calogero. It's kind of a tough word to get your mouth around as an English speaker. Um, that's just the way it is. But yeah, and that's the one place where Robert De Niro sort of falters, because you know, he says he's not prejudiced, but he is, and C even calls him out on that. Um, and that's interesting. You have this paragon of good, but otherwise he has racial prejudices.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that goes
I
to show that nobody's perfect, but it does. It does represent things about these characters.
there's one character we didn't bring up this entire movie.
Who?
His mother.
I mean, his mother's barely in this thing.
Yeah, but she has some good spots. Okay.
His mother's kind of corrupt. She
Yeah,
always wants to hang on to the money.
She was like, but we need it, And I mean, she wasn't wrong.
Was she? We don't know. We don't. They don't seem to be financially strapped at all. Yeah, they're living sort of a metered existence, but that's not particularly unusual. They're not poor. They're not living in squalor. Um, frankly, what little we know of the mother, she just seems corrupt as hell. She doesn't seem like a good character at all. Um, that's my take on her. And I can't remember. There was another really good piece of advice that Sonny gave, and I can't remember what it was.
Do you remember like the basis?
No, not even at all. It was just like one of the things that popped into my head that I wanted to put in the list of, of sort of good things that Sonny says, because like I said, he's got some good bits. He's got some good like chunks of advice. The street smarts and book smarts thing, that's one of them. Just like, don't waste your talent.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I know that was De Niro's phrase.
Yeah,
but,
don't be wasted talent.
We're over time on this. We got to talk about star ratings.
Do you want to go first?
I mean, I'm having trouble here. I think it deserves at least a 4. I don't know if I want to give it a 4.5, but it deserves at least a 4. I liked it a lot. It was a little bit sort of not rough around the edges, but clunky with the narration.
Yeah, because when I first started the movie and you were talking to somebody, I started the movie and the movie played right away, and it was that opening scene of like the Fordham Bronx,
mm-hmm.
and it was very quiet. Like I didn't even know C was talking until like there was a quiet spot between you and your friend talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh wow, this movie is like really low.
Yeah, I just think it was I'm not a huge fan of that sort of voiceover narration through entire movies.
I'm gonna give this movie a 4.5 because it's near and dear to my heart. I've watched it many of times, and I feel like I agree with you. The narration could have been better. I feel like the person that played C could have done a better job.
I don't even necessarily think that. C's way of talking and way of explaining stuff is like inherently entertaining. I feel like I could almost listen to him talk about anything forever.
Mm-hmm.
It helps that his subject matter is also in a way inherently entertaining, with all of the nicknames and all the things about the all the things about his neighborhood and all the things about baseball and everything he has to say. Frankly, everything he has to say in the narration. I just don't necessarily love the format.
I wanted to talk about the budget and how much the movie made back. The movie budget was about $10 million,
which is substantial for this. But I guess you got to blow up a car and everything. Oh, you got to get a lot of classic cars and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then in the box office, it made $17.3 million. So I mean, I guess they got their money's worth for the movie.
I mean, they got a return and then some. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad. The movie's like what, 2 hours? It's 2 hours and a minute long.
With the credits, yeah.
Yeah, with credits, it's 2 hours and a minute long. But I mean, what can you do? I guess.
I mean, and the credits are a good, a good 3 or 4 minutes at least.
Oh yeah,
It's
the
not.
doo-wop on every corner.
Oh yeah, that was so cool. That's if I get one more thing I get to say in this episode, which is it's that the doo-wop took me back to my own childhood because my dad used to listen to doo-wop constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of my music taste I get from my dad, and my dad would listen to all sorts of stuff. And he introduced me to everything from, everything on the rock and roll side, from Bad Company to Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, and anything in between. Boston especially, but like he always would listen to these songs of the 50s and 60s that he got, from when he was growing up, or really young, stuff that his dad would listen to, or stuff that would be on the radio. And I have some of those songs even still on my iPod, and it just took me back. Like, I haven't thought about doo-wop as a genre in forever. And hearing all that throughout this movie's got a great soundtrack. But
what's the next movie? Do you know?
I really don't know exactly yet. Part of me wants to just jump at my cousin Vinny, but that's like the last thing on the list now because I didn't realize it wasn't on here. So the question is like, what do
I feel like we need? I feel like we need to fill in some blanks because we have some patches where we haven't even watched movies.
No, I know, and we were going to do Monuments Men, which is right here, but we ended up not being able to watch that.
Why?
Because we didn't have access
to it.
That's
right. So it was on like
and we've got like
the Stars package.
We've got like a big gap here. I mean, there's some cheesy stuff in here.
Oh, we could watch
Demolition Man.
We could watch. I mean, when it's my pick, we could watch Hachi because Hachi takes place in Woonsocket.
It does?
Yeah, it does.
What the heck?
You know the train station in Woonsocket?
Oh, of course. Do I know the train station in Woonsocket?
The statue of the dog is based off Hachi.
I didn't know there was a statue of a dog there.
Yeah, there's a statue of a Shiba Inu at the Woonsocket outside the Woonsocket train station.
Oh. We also watched. This is just an aside for everyone. We also watched Vide Noir, which is the Lord Huron album-based movie. But Gloria was on the can for a large portion of it and not very wakeful for other large portions of it, so we could not make an episode on it. But we'll have to go back. And
Hamilton is 50th episode, so be on the lookout for that one.
That is going to come at Christmas.
Yeah. Well, the day after Christmas. Well, no, Christmas.
Christmas on a Sunday, so if it airs on time.
Yeah, if it airs on time, Christmas episode.
But yeah, we've got some big gaps we need to fill in here. I'm just going to think for a little bit. Tempted to do My Cousin Vinny because now I really want to watch that movie after seeing Joe Pesci in this one. But yeah, there's some stuff on here that I'd like to do. I just don't know what I should do next. Because yeah, we could keep it rolling with movies that are sort of like this, or we could just take a total diversion. I don't know yet.
Completely 360 it.
Yeah, I mean, we could do Titan AE next.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're almost to 100 subscribers.
Yeah, then I'll be able to fix the channel name.
And if you've seen this movie, leave a comment. And if you haven't seen this movie, you should definitely see this movie.
Yeah, if it's not been spoiled enough already.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway,
bye.
Bye, everybody.